If you take a walk through the lush green streets of Silicon Valley in sunny California, you're bound to bump into a graduate from its next-door neighbor, Stanford University. Though not an Ivy League, Stanford enjoys much, if not more, of the global fame and respect. And when it comes to one of its popular professional graduate school degrees, an MBA from Stanford Graduate School of Business, or simply Stanford GSB, can give your career a super takeoff. Ranked almost always among the top 3 business schools in the US and global MBA rankings, it gives stiff competition to the legacy B schools like Harvard and Wharton. In many ways, it prides in differentiating itself from Harvard Business School and others in innovation and teaching. And if you're thinking of getting into Stanford for your MBA degree, you should be prepared to pull yourself up, to be the kind of candidate that will excite them among the thousands of aspirants each year. Let's be clear about one thing. It is not easy to get into Stanford MBA. You may have the goods, but so do many other applicants relying on their stats to cut the deal. It's wise to understand that Stanford needs not just a good candidate, but rather a good candidate who is a great fit to their community of leaders and forward thinkers. And they're pretty serious about that. Stanford trumps Harvard, MIT, and many other elite names in being the most selective B school in the world. In this video, we'll examine the Stanford MBA program and how to beat the odds and get into Stanford GSB. Every single question in the list is important. So if you're serious about getting into Stanford, stay focused till the end to find out how you can be part of this elite MBA program for a rich education experience and an even richer future career in every sense. What makes the Stanford MBA program excellent? Change lives, change organizations, change the world. That is the motto of Stanford GSB, and they do everything possible to follow it. The school doesn't just excel in management training. It is constantly evolving to make insightful, creative, conscientious, and principled leaders who can change the world for the better. Stanford GSB supports its students to explore social and environmental issues through various channels, building community connections, and more. Stanford University excels in every field, from engineering, sciences, humanities, medicine, and business education. It's a stone's throw away from potential employers like Apple, Facebook, Google, among many others. This proximity really adds to its appeal. Studies have shown that Stanford ranks as one of the biggest source of employees among the top league, not to mention its close affiliation with alumni working in Silicon Valley, who are also responsible for resourcing one of the largest university endowments in the world. The cycle of innovation and factors promoting innovation are one of Stanford's top strengths, and the business school plays an important role in this. Stanford GSB has consistently topped the charts in all respectable rankings for being the best training B school for entrepreneurs. Research shows that a third, or even more, of their graduating class started a company within a short time of getting their MBA. Innovative ideas from Silicon Valley are also a great source of inspiration for concepts for new businesses, as is the ability to network with these great minds during projects and internships. The Center for Entrepreneurial Studies fosters innovation by building a community of thought leaders and entrepreneurs. The environment is rich with cross-disciplinary collaboration, aided with research, training, and student programs such as the Stanford Venture Studio and Startup Garage. Stanford GSB admits around 400 students. While it makes the admission process more competitive and challenging, it also encourages a close-knit community where the relationships and networks last well beyond first names and jobs. It's a community of alumni that bonds over much more than a shared alma mater. How hard is it to get into Stanford MBA? Very, very hard. All the reasons we've cited earlier make Stanford MBA an exclusive want for a large pool of applicants each year. However, given the small number of seats, Stanford GSB has to be highly selective. Its high standard of training needs high-quality students who have demonstrated certain qualities to become effective leaders and managers. These qualities are judged meticulously by their admissions team each year. And every year, only about 400 students are successfully admitted among the thousands who apply. This makes the Stanford MBA program the hardest to get into. The acceptance rate for the Stanford MBA is about 6%. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that you'll always have a 6% chance of making it. Your chances could be in fact better and higher than 6%. If you have the skills that can get admission officers at Stanford excited. On the flip side, you may have much less to offer them and be less than a perfect fit for them, plummeting your chances to well below the average of 6%. What does a typical class profile at Stanford's MBA program look like? Here's the Stanford MBA class profile from recent times. As they insist, it's a reflection of what has been accepted before and in no way deterministic of future classes. However, these hard stats will still give you an idea of what your chances might be. We'll cover the rest of the desired qualities shortly. First off, here's an objective look. With a class of 400, there is a significant international population of more than 150 students. There's also a healthy distribution of nationality and gender. This proportion might look great, but in terms of absolute numbers, it means you have lesser seats to compete for if you're not an American. Candidates from overrepresented applicant pools, such as India and China, have steeper application journeys. As far as the hard stats are concerned, even though the average is about 5 years for work experience, a healthy GPA north of 3.5, and a pretty high GMAT score of 730, the GSB does make exceptions for outstanding students who can fulfill the desired traits and skills, so there's definitely some room in each section. That creates a spectrum of candidates who have no work experience to those who have as much as 15 years. Even GMAT or GRE scores can be less than stellar and still get a nod as long as there is a visible demonstration of the skills these standardized tests otherwise evaluate. Interestingly, near half of the students come from humanities or social sciences education backgrounds. This is far more than most of the other top schools, where candidates are usually pulled in from STEM or business backgrounds. What qualities does Stanford look for? The Stanford admissions team look for 3 main criteria to send applications in the break or make category. They look for intellectual vitality. These need not be limited to your education achievements. According to Stanford GSB's admission team, intellectual abilities can be exhibited through work or even extracurricular engagements. Intellectual vitality means you have a mind that is animated and energetic. You're not only excited by new ideas, but also want to find practical implementation for them. You're inquisitive, and your passion to find a new path takes you to places others fear to go. Demonstrated leadership qualities. Change lives, change organizations, change the world. Following the Stanford GSB mantra, as a GSB candidate, you need to prove that you have successfully used an ability to inspire your team to achieve organizational objectives. Have you led any project or team? Did you show leadership abilities at your undergrad school, in some student club or group? Can you tackle a problem or task and help someone else do the same? Can you learn from failure? Can you work well within a team? Do you have the ability to tackle conflicts and resolve them with diplomacy and tact? Do you care for your community? In other words, do you have the potential to be a leader, even if you're not currently or never have been in a leadership role? Personal qualities and achievements. Do you have a deep engagement with society and the people around you? Have you cared enough to want to make a difference? Can your passions and experiences have a positive impact on your surroundings, your MBA peers, and the Stanford GSB community? The admissions team evaluates each application in person and looks for an amalgam of these qualities for the future GSB MBA class. How can you improve your chances of admission? Firstly, keep track of the requirements and deadlines. MBA applications are grueling and require high introspection. It's easy to lose track of the basic requirements and time in the process. So focus on the usual suspects: GMAT or GRE score, TOEFL, academic transcripts, recommendations, resume, and other standard requirements, and take care of them well in advance, and don't leave it for the last minute. What else can you do? The MBA essays you write as part of the Stanford MBA application process will tell the admissions officer who you are. It's a good idea to avoid trying to second-guess the admission officers. If you try to do so, you'll only be hiding your real self, which is what GSB wants to see. Here's what they ask in the MBA essays. We have a separate video on how to tackle Stanford MBA essays. We'll add a link to it in the description. Rather than just highlighting the qualities themselves, understand how you develop them. This will lead you to a deeper self-realization that GSB will appreciate. Further, well-developed analytical skills, creativity, and demonstrated talent for managing people and projects will help you differentiate yourself from other candidates. Reflect on your dreams, interests, and values before you write your essays. Stanford expects you to write about the insights that your experiences have given you, rather than only about your achievements. Ask yourself why Stanford GSB would be interested in you, and at the same time, why you would be investing in an education there. A word of caution here, especially if you're planning to take external help for your application from family, friends, or professional admission consultants. Stanford makes a clear demarcation of appropriate feedback and inappropriate coaching. The MBA application you submit may be reviewed by others, but what you submit has to be ultimately your own work. So don't blindly outsource your MBA application. Read the application guidelines thoroughly and make sure you take the help from someone who understands the ethical boundaries. Prepare to work hard and work well. With a Stanford MBA admit, you'll be in a very strong position to not only have a successful career, but also the chance to live out their mantra by changing the world for the better. One of the most popular stories on our website is about an MBA Crystal Ball admissions consultant who got into Stanford with a full scholarship. We'll share the link below if you're looking for some inspiration and application tips. And as always, if you need professional help with your MBA applications for any of the top ranking B schools, drop us an email. Good luck.